it's a new crystal and a new essential oil. I love these actually. Mind you, I do love all mine, but I do love these. Yeah, just learning, because when I create this live and go into the information and that of it, I learn so much more too, and that's really cool. I really love that it, things that you thought you knew. And then you start looking into a specific crystal, and then you go, "Oh, I didn't know that." And so, yeah, it's quite clever. Well, not clever. It's just I just love it. It's not only teaching you, it's teaching me too, which is very very cool, and I do love that. I created this song just for this. Beautiful crystal and essential oil live. Don't know if you can hear it very well, but it's just nice to have a little bit of song, and it's almost like it reminds me of Scottish Shaun when I hear this one. So, yeah. Hey Peter, just fixing lunch. Pure perfect. I haven't had mine yet. We have breakfast and what we call dunch, so we only have 2 meals a day, and so normally we have our dunch about now. So I said to Paul, it's going to be just have it a bit later, because I get the times that I have had it beforehand, it's like I want to go to sleep now. So yeah. So what's for lunch, Peter? What's for lunch? Oh, yum. Lovely. Lovely and healthy. Beautiful. I think what we're going to have tonight after I finish this is a prawn risotto. So how about that? Hey, beautiful Dealey. Lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. Well, shall we get started? This is the beautiful, beautiful crystal. This is Lapis Lazuli, and she's beautiful. You can see her on all sorts of sides, and I especially love her because she's a butterfly. Butterflies are quite special to me, and to have her in Lapis Lazuli is rather nice. I do like it. Oh, nice. Yeah, you can't do prawns though. That's no good. Prawns are lovely. I do like prawns. And I was looking at a what was it called? Alkaline and acidic, and prawns are very good to lower your acidity in your body. So I thought that was good because I love them. Thank you. Yes, a lapis butterfly. It's so pretty. I do like it too. I do love it. Well, sure, you want to probably know about it too, don't you? Probably want to know a bit about it. Lapis Lazuli is its full name, but most people call it lapis. And we're going to look at blue spruce later. Before we talk about all the stuff, let's get some other music on now. You heard my song. It just reminded me of Scottish Shaun. What shall we put on? Let's do that one. See if that one works. Hey Jen, lovely to see you. I was just showing them all. This is my my beautiful lapis in the shape of a butterfly. And you'll see it again all the way through. Because I just love showing it. I love showing it. And yes, before we start talking about the hardness scales, the mineral composition, the ancient civilizations, and the chakras, I decided I wanted to do something just much simpler. Just look at it. Look at Lapis. Isn't she beautiful? Really look. You can see all sorts of beautiful colors in it. My camera doesn't focus very well up there. There is, I think sometimes, when we have a lapis, if you have one, look at it. Hey, John. Oh, you're here with Jerry. Lovely. Nice, John. That is really spooky. I was just thinking about Jerry earlier today, and I thought, I haven't heard much of Jerry. And so lovely to have you here too, John. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Wonderful. Just look at it. It's, we become accustomed to crystals that we we then forget how extraordinary some of them actually are. And here is a beautiful stone that, let's turn the butterfly up the right way, flying upside down. A beautiful, beautiful stone that it contains the color of the deepest evening sky. Yes, it's cool, isn't it, John? I love how it's been carved like that too, not just a flat piece of butterfly looking stuff. It's lovely how it's been done like that. Yes, intense blues. There's intense blues in there. There's indigo. There's sometimes violet, depending on the light. Can't find much in the way of violet at the moment. Then it sort of can run through darkness, like tiny flecks, golden flecks appear. Mine has a lot of gold in it, actually. Mine has a lot of gold, and occasionally don't think mine has. Occasionally in them you will see like streaks or clouds of white too, which is really quite cool. Double terminated, yes, definitely, yeah. Or delirium tremors. Could be that too, yeah. It's very easy to understand why the ancient people looked at this glorious crystal and saw the heavens captured inside stone. Imagine encountering this glorious stone thousands of years ago, when there was no electric light, when there were no photographs of galaxies and things, there were no satellite images, and you would look upward at night and see an enormous dark blue sky scattered with stars, and then someone places this in your hand. A blue stone, golden points of light, beautiful golden points of light. And the heavens have somehow come down to earth. And that is where I want to begin. Oh, lovely, Angela, a new pendulum. I love pendulums. I have a couple here. Pendulums are beautiful. And if you've never used one, try one. They're fabulous for yes and no answers. They really, really are. We should see if I can get mine to work for you later. Yes, that's what they are, John. They are pyrite, exactly. So not with what, I'm not going to begin with what Lapis Lazuli is supposed to do. Sorry, I didn't turn my, let's turn my phone onto silent. There we go. So you don't hear it. But I'm going to start and begin with a question. Why had this particular beautiful stone fascinated human beings for thousands of years? Why do you think? Why do you think? My brother-in-law, he had got a boat many years ago, and he called it Lapis Lazuli. Fabulous, eh? So why? And I think if we can understand the strength of it, absolutely. Yes, Dealey, I love that too. It's blue, you can get lost and found in. Fabulous. That's why. Oh, I love these whys. That's awesome. Beautiful. And once we understand that, hello, Howard, darling, it's an indescribable taste. Yes. It is gorgeous, isn't it? And its modern associations with wisdom, truth, and communication, and inner knowing as well, suddenly start to make sense, or much more sense, maybe. And I think I've gone really wild with this live. I think this is where our first surprise comes in. Lapis lazuli isn't actually one mineral. It's a rock composed, or a crystal composed of several minerals. This gorgeous blue that it is primarily associated with a mineral called lazurite, and that's where its name comes from, lapis lazuli. So it's a mineral called lazurite, and the lapis lazuli commonly also contains calcite and pyrite, as John pointed out before, the gold flecks of the pyrite. And then there can be lots of other little minerals in smaller amounts throughout it too, and that's what makes them beautifully different. Yeah. Points at both ends. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So when yeah, don't eat it, Howard, don't eat it. So when you hold it, when you just hold it and just breathe with it, you're actually holding a little geological community inside this beautiful crystal. So the lazurite gives us this magnificent blue. The calcite creates the white streaks, which I have the odd few. They tend to look like cracks sometimes, but that's the white streaks in them. But I don't have many white streaks in mine. And pyrite, that's where I was going. And pyrite gives us this beautiful, mine's got a lot of pyrite in it, the beautiful gold and goldenness of it, golden metallic sort of flecks in it. And people sometimes make the mistake that these golden specks are actually gold. That's what they think. When they look at that, they think it is gold in there, but it's not. It's just pyrite, which pyrite is fool's gold. And aesthetically, though, they create something extraordinary, something beautiful. This deep blue stone scattered with gold. Oh, it's just fabulous. And then that's no wonder us and humanity just love it. They are enchanted by it. And you know, already I think we have the beginning of a beautiful story. And lapis, it doesn't reveal everything at first sight. There is so much going on in this crystal. And the closer we look at it, the more complex it becomes. And that feels appropriate for a stone when we're going to associate it with truth. And that's what this one is generally associated with, is truth. So lapis. It becomes absolutely fascinating when you look into it. Because it's, no licking crystals. I agree, John. Yes, Howard's gone quiet. For thousands of years, humanity has desired this particular crystal, and they have wanted this blue stone so badly enough to transport it and transport enormous distances across the ancient world. They really did. Some of the most historical, important lapis came from the mountainous region of Badakhshan. I think you got to get in there, and which in present day Afghanistan, if you really want to know, and that's where deposits have been worked since antiquity, since forever. But think about that. Think about what that means. Long before trucks, they didn't have trucks. They didn't have aircraft. Long before, modern roads as well, lapis traveled, and it moved through the ancient trade networks into Mesopotamia, Egypt, and beyond. And archaeologists have discovered lapis in ancient beads and jewelry and seals and amulets and burial objects as well. And in ancient Egypt, its extraordinary blue color became associated with status, with beauty, and the sacred. Yeah. Yes, the Lapis Road does predate the Silk Road. Absolutely. Amazing, eh? Amazing how they traveled, and so many of us think that getting in a plane and coming all the way here to New Zealand is going to be onerous. Just imagine what they did. It is onerous coming all the way to here, but anyway, that's beside the point. Blue wasn't merely decorative, because they thought it evoked the sky for them, the heavens, the divine, something vast and mysterious beyond ordinary human life. And centuries later, lapis would give the world another beautiful treasure. Do you know what that is? You got any good guesses? Getting there, John. Getting there. Ultramarine. Did you know that, John and Jerry? Because Jerry and John are amazing crystal collectors. Lapis could be ground and painstakingly processed to produce, as John or Jerry said, into an extraordinary blue pigment. And true ultramarine then became enormously valuable in European art as well. So precious that artists and patrons often reserved it for particularly significant parts of paintings. So yes, you're right, paint. But think about that journey, the journey contained within this one stone, dug from the mountains. Yes, they did. Yeah, Jerry and John. It was carried across continents. It's been worn against the human skin. It's been placed within sacred objects. It's been traded as treasure. It's been ground into pigment, and it's been painted into beautiful works of art. So any of those ancient artists, if you ever find some of their work, see if you can spot some of the blue in it. It'll be lapis. It does have a very long history. It really does. And eventually, arriving in my hands or your hands thousands of years later, perhaps that beautiful bit of history gives us the first sort of energetic clue. Now, lapis has always presented something considered precious enough to preserve and important enough to express as well. So when we talk about the varieties of lapis, we're not really talking about separate mineral species in the way we talk about other members of the family, the crystal family. Instead, we encounter differences in color, so mineral balance and pattern and quality. So what I'm holding up here, you might have much less gold, or you may have more white in it, and mine has a lot of gold, especially on the back side there. Mine has a lot of gold, but less white. It doesn't have much white at all. And some lapis is incredibly saturated with royal blue, with very little visible calcite, like mine. Some contains beautiful tiny pyrite flakes, and they can actually look like stars scattered across the sky. Mine look like, there's so much of it, you can't actually make it into stars. It's just, and that's the difference between them all. And other pieces contain, more sort of patches of moving of the more patches of all of it, of the pyrite, of the white, of the gold, just moving through the blue. I have most of it. I have more gold moving through the blue, and less white, and less sort of clouds. Mine is much more in the goldy type range. Hey Cora, lovely to see you. Welcome. Some lapis is a lot paler than this too. Some it's almost mottled. Some can be like a denim blue. And some is so intensely blue that it seems almost impossible that nature created that color. I mean, mine's quite intense. Nature created this. Isn't it beautiful? Ah, lovely, Cora. Lovely. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Some traditionally, no worries, Cora. It's lovely to see your beautiful bubble. Traditionally, it's richly saturated blue material with very little calcite, like mine. So that's the one that is particularly prized, the one that has less of the white in it. Yeah. You have beautiful dreams, Cora. Sleep well. Hey, Rebecca. Lovely to see you too. See your awesome bubble. But this is where I think our relationship with crystals can become much more interesting than simply deciding, which specimen is that, or which specimen is best as well. I actually love seeing the other minerals in crystals. A little pyrite that looks like stars would be really cool. Mine look like streaks of gold lightning almost. But a lot of them are like little wee stars, which is quite precious. The variations in it create the landscape and of each individual crystal. So if your lapis isn't an immaculate piece of uninterrupted royal blue, don't assume you have something inferior. You know, it's not. Nature wasn't creating jewelry grades when it created this. Nature was just making rock. That's what nature was doing. And so every piece carries its own beautiful record of how it was formed. I just love all the crystals. I love that about it, how connected they are to our earth. They are delightful. Now, lapis, it doesn't fit naturally into, if I asked you where it came from, it doesn't fit into, if you asked, is it quartz, is it feldspar, is it agate, is it none of those? It's not. Lapis lazuli is a metamorphic rock. That's what lapis lazuli is. So that means the original material was altered by geological conditions, such as heat and pressure and chemical interaction. And the principal blue mineral within lapis, within blue lapis, lazurite, belongs to the sodalite group of minerals. So, science. So the easiest way to remember it is lapis lazuli is the rock or the crystal. Lazurite is the principal blue mineral within the rock. And that distinction is important because the names are sometimes almost interchangeable. And lapis isn't one single thing. And how beautiful is that? You know, that's really beautiful symbolism. You know, it's not one single thing. Its beauty emerges through all these different elements becoming part of one big whole. And we're like that too, aren't we? We aren't one experience. We're one role, one age, one emotion, and one story. And that's what lapis is like too. And we are a collection of everything we have lived and learned and lost and loved and become. It's a beautiful, comprehensive story. And lapis is exactly like that too. Now, if we could follow the historical thread of lapis backwards far enough, eventually we would find ourselves among mountains. The deposits of the Badakhshan in Afghanistan are legendary. They really are. And if you go to Afghanistan, go to that region because it'll blow you away. And they represent one of the oldest and most historically important sources of lapis in those mountains. Lapis is found elsewhere, yes, and it's including Chile and Russia, along with other locations as well. But Afghanistan has an extraordinary historical relationship with this beautiful crystal. Geologically, lapis typically forms through contact metamorphism. Now, I didn't say that properly, did I? Metamorphism. Can't get my mouth around that. Particularly where limestone or marble has been altered by heat and chemically active fluids associated with the ingenious activity. And so that peaceful blue crystal has emerged from a story of enormous geological transformation. really has. So there's been heat, there's been pressure, there's been chemical change, there's been minerals reacting, there are new minerals developing in it, and eventually you end up with that, the blue emerging from all that amazing transformation. Maybe we shouldn't rush past that either, because lapis is our stone of truth, and truth can sometimes form in much the same way. We don't always arrive at our deepest truth because nothing has happened to us. Sometimes we discover it because life has changed us enough to actually reveal it. Beautiful things come from lapis, they really do. How hard is lapis? You know, you hold it like a lot of crystals, you feel it is quite solid and firm. It's less so, and it is slightly more complicated than simply giving a number, because lapis is composed of several minerals. But generally, most lapis sit at about a 5 to a 6 on the Mohs hardness scale. It's a beautiful individual mineral components, can affect it's the hardness of it. So if you had a whole lot more of the harder minerals in it, then it would be a lot harder. And that depends on the of the different areas that it came from too, and the beautiful different areas within the same specimen as well. And this matters practically because lapis may look substantial. I mean, she looks very substantial, my beautiful butterfly, but it isn't indestructible. It will chip, it will crack, it will scratch, because it's the calcite content that can make it quite vulnerable to, definitely if you're cleaning it, can make it quite vulnerable to acids and harsh cleaning products. So don't use those. So this definitely is a crystal that we treat with a little bit of gentleness, rather than chucking it into a bowl alongside some of the much harder crystals. But I rather like that sort of combination, you know, a stone associated with truth that still requires gentleness. Because truth doesn't have to be brutal. You know, sometimes people say, I'm just being honest. Don't you love that one? I'm just being honest, when what they really mean is that they're being unkind. Think about that one. And lapis gives us another possibility. You know, truth with wisdom, truth delivered consciously, truth that doesn't wound in order to be true. And so lapis is beautiful for that. Now, it's mineral compositions. This, I am not sure, actually. I got this in Greece many, many moons ago. I should look into it because it is a beautiful... I had earrings that matched, but they broke. I've still got the stones, though. But, yeah, it is... I must look into it because it was when we were traveling and went to Greece, and they had all these... I had amazing jewelry shops, and this one just jumped out at me. It really did. So I must research it and see what it is, because it is... I do like it. It's quite pretty. So let's travel inside the stone. The beautiful blue mineral is what I said is predominantly lazurite. And then the complex sodium, calcium, aluminosilicate that's containing sulfur. And then that sulfur chemistry sort of plays a beautiful but an important part in producing the extraordinary blue color. So alongside lazurite, we commonly find calcite, and that's the white areas. And then we've got the pyrite with the golden flecks, but there are other minerals present as well, and that including sodalite and related sort of mineral species to that area, to the sodalite side as well. So when you're turning a piece in your hand and you're having a look at it, try seeing beyond the words, "It's my blue crystal," because you are looking at an amazing geological collaboration. It's beautiful. So you've got blue lazurite, you've got white calcite, you've got golden pyrite, and then there's all sorts of other different variations of that, and each one can be so different, which is beautiful. And I think that perhaps is another reason why I didn't choose to describe lapis simply as a stone of communication, which you often will find, but I feel it's much more layered than that. It's asking us to bring all those different properties and all our different internal voices into one glorious expression. So what are the benefits of lapis? When I get asked what are the benefits of lapis, I think my temptation is to give them a list. I'm a list sort of person, to give them a list. Communication, truth, wisdom, confidence, intuition, self-expression, and they are all beautiful qualities traditionally associated with lapis lazuli. But I think there is much more useful way of us exploring its benefits instead of asking only what does lapis do. Turn it around and ask when should I actually reach for lapis lazuli? And that you can use that with all your crystals actually. And you might reach for it when you know something is bothering you, but you haven't quite found the words for it yet. And this is where lapis can become an amazingly beautiful stone for clarity of thought and expression. And so rather than pushing us immediately towards speaking, it symbolically encourages us to understand what is happening inside first. So what am I actually feeling? What am I trying to say? What is the truth beneath my very first emotional reaction? And sometimes the greatest benefit isn't finding our voice. It's finding out what our voice, our glorious, beautiful, individual voice wants to say. Hey, Maribel, lovely to see you, darling. And so I might also reach for lapis lazuli when I'm writing, when I'm teaching, perfect for teachers, in a classroom, anywhere, perfect for teachers, perfect for speaking publicly, perfect for creating something. And here its benefit becomes authentic self-expression as well. So there can be such a huge difference between saying something because we think it's what people want to hear and expressing something that genuinely feels like us. And that can be really hard sometimes, isn't it? And lapis can become a little physical reminder that, to just sit beside and just to whisper in your ear, don't perform, communicate. don't try to sound like somebody else. Let yourself sound like you. And that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. For someone like me, who constantly second guesses themselves, Lapis, beautiful. You take care, Peter. Have a wonderful afternoon. Lapis can represent another beautiful benefit. Trusting our own perspective, and not believing that we're always right, not refusing other people's advice, but recognizing that our own thoughts deserve a place at the table too. And it can be especially meaningful for people who automatically ask everybody else what they're thinking before asking themselves. And why does that keep stopping? And so when you hold the lapis, begin with, in those sorts of situations, begin with, what do I think? And there's something wonderfully empowering about that tiny change. Absolutely. Hello, Sherry. Perfect timing, Sherry. And for someone who becomes, maybe you're the person that becomes nervous during difficult conversations. I think a lot of us can be like that. Humanity doesn't like difficult things mostly. But lapis can represent calm, considered communication, and it reminds us that we're allowed to pause. We don't have to answer immediately. We can breathe, we can stop and breathe, we can think, we can choose our words, and then we can speak. And society is often in a hurry, isn't it? And they can, the person that is asking you something, they can be standing there staring at you or sitting there staring at you. Don't worry about that. Just stop and breathe, think, choose your words, and then speak. If you're a person that tends to remain silent because they don't want to upset anyone, lapis can symbolize that courage to express needs and boundaries respectfully. And there's an important difference between confrontation and communication. So we can say, that doesn't work for me. I need some time. That's a good one to use. I see this differently. It doesn't mean you're disagreeing with them. It's just your opinion. You see it differently. Or you can, I would prefer, and add what your preference is. They're tiny wee sentences, but sometimes saying them represents enormous growth and courage too. Lapis can also be a wonderful companion for creativity, because how could it not? It is just the beauty in it. Creativity is another form of voice. Writing is voice, painting is voice, music is voice, teaching is voice, poetry is voice, movement can be voice as well. And it can even come down to how we arrange our home or choose what we wear, can become a beautiful form of expression. So if you're experiencing a creative block, or you might then just sit with lapis and not asking it, how can I become more creative? Please tell me. But ask it what is trying to come through. And that's completely different question. But then you can sit with that, and then you'll see all sorts of things coming through. Another traditional association of lapis is wisdom and inner knowing. And I think this benefit becomes particularly interesting when we separate wisdom and simply knowing lots of things. So knowledge is I have the information, but wisdom is about what does this information mean for me. So two very different things. Lapis also encourages reflection. So it's great for journaling, meditation, just sitting in silence, so contemplation. And any of those times when you need to just step away from everyone else's opinions long enough to hear your own. Hey, Lolita. Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I think one of the most overlooked benefits of Lapis is deep listening. Because communication isn't simply speaking. Sometimes the most powerful communicator in the room is the one person who genuinely listens. Amazing, eh? Lapis can remind us to listen. Listen without preparing a reply to something too. Just listen. Listen to hear what somebody is actually saying rather than what we assume they mean. And to offer ourselves too that same quality of listening as well. So if I were to gather all those beautiful benefits of Lapis together, I would say we might reach for it when we want symbolic support with clarity of thought, with authentic communication, with finding words for difficult feelings, for speaking needs and boundaries, for confidence in our own perspective, for creative expression, for reflection and inner wisdom, for deep listening, for thoughtful rather than reactive communication. So trusting your own voice. And I think perhaps the greatest benefit of Lapis lies underneath all of those, because for thousands of years, human beings considered this glorious, beautiful blue stone precious enough to carry across enormous distances, shape into treasured objects, and grind into pigment so that its extraordinary color could become part of art. Again and again. And Lapis becomes a way of giving something inner in an outer form. And perhaps that is still what it can represent for us today too. Lapis doesn't need to sort of magically give us a voice, because we already have one. We already have one. So instead it can become a beautiful physical reminder to practice something we sometimes forget. Listen inwardly, and then you'll discover what is true, and then give yourself permission to have a perspective. And then when the moment is right, allow what lives within you to find its beautiful way into the world. Its primary chakra is the throat chakra, which is the Vishuddha. The throat chakra is often reduced to simply communication, but the throat chakra is much richer than that, much richer than that. It is the symbolic meeting place between our inner world and our outer expression. So, something exists inside us, a thought, a need, a boundary, a creative idea, a truth, a song, a story. And through expression, that invisible layer, invisible inner experience becomes visible or audible in the world. And that's extraordinary when you think about it. Lapis seems almost designed symbolically for that threshold. Its deep blue echoes the color traditionally associated with the throat chakra, but the connection goes way beyond that. For thousands of years, lapis has been associated with meaningful expression. It became jewelry, symbols, sacred objects, pigment, art. Human beings literally took lapis, ground it into color, and used it to express what mattered to them. So when we work with lapis at the throat chakra, it's not about how you can talk more. It's about what within you is wanting to be expressed. So maybe through speech, maybe through writing, maybe through some art, maybe through teaching, maybe saying no, or maybe finally saying yes as well, or maybe simply telling someone, this is how I feel. And lapis reminds us that our voice isn't valuable because it's loud. It's valuable because it is ours, our beautiful, unique voice. And I think lapis works beautifully when it becomes part of the places where thinking becomes expression. So keep it beside your journal, beside your computer if you write at your computer, near places that you listen to music. Hold it before an important conversation, or pop it in your pocket while you're having that conversation. Sit with it when you're trying to understand what you actually think about something, rather than what you believe you are supposed to think. But I wouldn't use it as a magical device that somehow speaks to us perfectly. Instead, just let it become a physical reminder to pause, hold it, and just know that, okay, just breathe before you express anything, before you create that piece of art. Any expression, just pause and breathe before you start. Touch the stone, take one beautiful breath, and then what you're trying to say will come out. And a tiny, tiny little ritual like that, just to stop and pause and listen, and taking the breath, touching the stone, can change a conversation. Absolutely. Lapis can accompany creative work beautifully because expression isn't limited to speech. Poetry is voice, the painting is the voice, music is the voice, all those things that I said. Even silence can be a voice when silence is consciously chosen rather than imposed upon us. And perhaps that's how all its uses come together. Lapis it's not simply asking us to speak. It's asking us to develop a relationship with our authentic inner voice, and then find the form through which that beautiful voice can then come out and enter the world. A beautiful stone. Now, the archetype. Archetypes are primarily patterns of human experience that appears repeatedly across stories. You'll find them in mythology, psychology, and culture. So you often see the sage, the mother, the warrior, the healer, and we're never permanently one archetype, and different archetypical qualities emerge at different times because life asks us different things. And sometimes Sometimes we do need to be the courage of a warrior. Sometimes the tenderness of the healer, sometimes the boundaries of the guardian. And sometimes we need someone who can hear what lies beneath all the noise and speak from a deeper place. Which brings us to Lapis Lazuli. It is the oracle. I thought carefully about this one. I sat down and held it and thought about what it would be, and I could easily have chosen the sage, but lapis feels a little bit different to the sage. The sage gathers knowledge, but the oracle listens for wisdom. And the oracle understands that wisdom and knowing are not quite the same thing. So we can know thousands of facts, but still not know ourselves. And the oracle turns inward first. They listen, they notice, they allow the noise to settle, and only when they do speak, that is exactly why this archetype belongs with Lapis. It does. The oracle doesn't speak merely to fill a silence. They're comfortable with sitting in a room and no one's talking, because they understand that words have weight, and they stop and think. What needs saying, what needs not saying, what needs to be waited upon, what is true beneath my first reaction. When someone said to you something, what was your first reaction? And breathe then. But most importantly, it wants you to stop and ask. It doesn't want you to stop and ask what everybody else would think. It's what do you think? Have your beautiful expression. We are surrounded by voices. We are surrounded by opinions and advice and news and comments and algorithms and everyone telling us that we should want, think, buy, fear, and become. But the oracle invites us to step out of that noise occasionally. Hold this beautiful blue crystal. Become quiet. And listen for the voice underneath all the others, because that's your voice. That's your beautiful, unique voice. But the oracle has a shadow too. The shadow appears when we begin believing that every feeling is a prophecy, every intuition must be correct, or our interpretation represents absolute truth. And that is where discernment comes in. It's essential. The mature oracle remains curious, and they can say, this is what I sense, without needing to declare that this is absolute truth, and that is wisdom as well. And perhaps Lapis's deepest invitation is speak your truth, but do it with wisdom, and know your truth, and listen for it, and sit with it, and question it, and give it time. Do all those things before you speak your truth. And when you recognize that that voice inside that isn't shouting, performing, pleasing, or defending, then let the throat chakra become the doorway through which that truth enters the world then. Now, Lapis needs, as I mentioned briefly earlier before, it needs gentler care. It needs you to be kind. And it appears a solid, beautiful crystal. But because of its calcite, it only has that moderate hardness. So avoid harsh chemicals, acids, abrasive cleaners, and don't soak it. I don't use it in direct crystal water preparations or anything like that, or drinking elixirs. And I've got created a whole lot of blends when we get to the essential oil part, but lapis is there to sit beside and create added energy, and it does that perfectly. If I sit this beside my water, that energy of this crystal will go into that water. It does not have to be in it. For ordinary physical cleaning, just a beautiful soft dry cloth. It can be slightly damp if you want as well, but don't steam it, don't ultrasonic clean it, and store it thoughtfully so that those harder crystals don't scratch its surface. And smoke, incense, any of that. Music, have a beautiful piece of music that resonates with you, then that will resonate with your crystal and it will cleanse it too. And that's fabulous. So, energetically, perhaps there's another wee precaution, I guess, worth remembering. Don't turn your speaking your truth into permission to speak without compassion. Truth and kindness, they coexist. So, just wait, think, listen, then speak. And maybe that's where I would leave lapis, I think. It's not simply a stone of communication. It's not merely as something connected with the throat, but it is something so much older, far more interesting. A stone taken from ancient mountains, carried across civilizations, and held by people who lived thousands of years before us. It's been placed into jewelry and sacred objects and ground into one of history's most precious blue pigments, painted into works, and now I'm holding it in my hands. It's the same blue, the same tiny golden flecks through it. But now a new human being is asking a new question. And perhaps lapis doesn't need to give us the answer. Maybe it simply creates the moment in which we finally hear ourselves asking, what is true for me now? And then once you know, how will you give that truth a voice? How will you express it? That is Lapis Lazuli. Beautiful. Now, the oil that I decided would go with lapis is blue spruce. And again, before we talk about chemistry and extraction or chakras, just imagine standing beneath a blue spruce tree. Not looking at a photograph of one, close your eyes and just feel like you're actually standing beneath it. The branches are spread out in strong, beautifully structured layers. The needles are blue-green to almost silvery, catching the light so that the whole tree can appear faintly frosted, even in the middle of summer. And there's something wonderfully composed about a spruce tree. It doesn't look hurried. Most trees don't. It doesn't look fragile. Definitely not. And it's there. It occupies its place. And that's what it does. And then if you pick up one of the pine needles and you crush it between your hands, suddenly that tree has a voice. So first it's fresh resin you'll smell, green needles, cool forest air, a little sweetness, wood, and something almost citrus-like, hidden beneath the coniferous sharpness. And that's where I want to begin with blue spruce, because this oil is often described simply as grounding and cleansing or forest-like. And yes, those words are true, but they don't really tell us what makes it special. The blue spruce most commonly associated with essential oil is Picea pungens. The Colorado or blue spruce, a conifer belonging to the Pinaceae family. And unlike an oil made from a delicate flower that blooms briefly and then disappears, blue spruce comes from an evergreen tree. And that word matters too, evergreen. You know, it's a tree that remains green through the changing seasons. Winter comes, temperature falls, snow settles. Other trees might lose their leaves, and still the spruce remains solid and grounded and green. And that gives us a most wonderful piece of symbolism. Blue spruce doesn't represent never experiencing winter. It represents remaining connected to life while winter is happening. It's a very big difference. And so when I inhale blue spruce, I don't get the feeling of an oil trying to pull me upward into some extraordinary spiritual state. It feels much more like come back into your body, come back into your breath, come back into the here and now, the present. Just stand there for a moment. And perhaps most beautifully, I think it also says you don't have to know the whole path. You only need enough clarity for the next few steps, or enough light in that torch lamp for a few more steps. The story of blue spruce begins in the mountains landscapes of Western North America. The Picea pungens is native primarily to the Rocky Mountain region of the United States, particularly in areas including Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, and New Mexico, and some of the neighboring regions as well. It naturally grows in mountainous environments. Often it will be near streams and valleys where there is sufficient moisture for it, and sometimes very highly elevated. Its relationship with humans long predates the bottled essential oil. Spruce trees have provided wood, aromatic resinous materials, and practical resources for generations. And it has its various indigenous peoples of North America developed relationships with the local spruce species for practical and traditional purposes. And, those traditions differed between nations, and they're not all folded into one vague story of Native American use. They were all differently done. How beautiful, Jen, beautiful. I'd love to see them. Yes, spruce trees have provided wood, aromatic resinous materials, and practical resources for generations. And various indigenous peoples of North America developed relationships with the local spruce species for very practical and traditional uses. So, that's just remember that it is not that sort of vague story. Each different nation had something different. You know, sometimes essential oil lore becomes rather romantic and starts attributing the same ceremonial meaning to every indigenous culture. But I'd rather honour blue spruce without pretending there was one universal tradition. You know, what can we say is that conifers have long time mattered to people living in cold northern and mountainous environments. They provided material and shelter and fire and aromatics, you know, with the branches, and that unmistakable sign of continued greenness in winter is stunning. And then later, blue spruce became particularly beloved horticulturally because of its striking silver blue needles and its beautiful, elegant shape. And it is even in the state tree of Colorado too, which tells us something about how strongly this tree has become associated with mountain identity and landscape. And then we arrive at something I found very evocative, I guess is the word. Think about the way human beings respond to evergreens. Even without knowing anything about essential oils, we bring evergreen branches into winter celebrations. We decorate them. We gather around them. We associate them with continuity and endurance and protection and life continuing through the darker months. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Because much of the landscape can appear dormant, the evergreen remains visibly alive. It really does. And, you know, to see that beautiful flourishing tree in the middle of winter is just stunning. So when we work symbolically with blue spruce, we're tapping into something very old in the human imagination, and that's the green tree in winter. And you know, that it's just, it is, the aroma is just beautiful, isn't it, Sherry? It really is. And, you know, life can be quiet without being absent. You know, that growth can pause without being finished. And the winter season is not an identity. It is time to regenerate and to get all those little roots starting to extend before they burst out into flower. But the blue spruce is beautiful. It's evergreen. Ah, fabulous, Sherry. Fabulous. I envy you because I can't. My asthma, that does not like it. So I have to smell it. I don't often use it in blends either, but sometimes I do, so long as it's just a little bit in there and I can cope with it. But a real Christmas tree? No. Yes, so blue spruce belongs to the Pinaceae family, and that's the great pine family. So that includes many of the conifers that, like pines and firs and spruces, cedars of the true cedrus genes, larches and hemlocks are all part of that group as well. They share certain sort of structural and aromatical characteristics, but they're certainly not interchangeable. Blue spruce itself is the Picea pungens. And then within that spruce family, we have the other species. And so the black spruce, which we looked at before, is the Picea marina. Then we have the Norway spruce, which is Picea abies. Then we have the white spruce, which is Picea glauca. And there's others. So it's worth checking on your essential bottle, oil bottle, because the common names can become messy. If your supplier says blue spruce, you need to look for the Latin botanical name, the Picea pungens, if you want true blue spruce, and because you want to know exactly what plant you're holding. And blue spruce and black spruce sound almost just like color variations of one oil, but they're not. They're very, very different species, and they have somewhat different aromatic chemistry as well. And even within the Picea pungens, there are natural variations as well. That depends on where the tree grew. That matters. Where climate matters, harvesting time matters, which parts were distilled matters, the precise sort of batch that it came from matters. So essential oils are not identical perfumes stamped out by a machine. They are aromatic portraits of living plants. And I think blue spruce particularly asks us to notice when you smell it, you aren't merely smelling pine fragrance. You are smelling a particular tree from a particular landscape at a particular moment of harvest. And it's beautiful, different sort of personalities. This is where blue spruce comes interesting to me, because it has several personalities that reveal themselves depending upon what we need. And so the first smell is that mountain elder. It's that steady blue spruce. It doesn't rush to answer anything. It feels like sitting beside someone who has lived long enough to realize, excuse me, that most crises change shape if we give them a little time. The mountain elder is again saying, be still before deciding. Not because action is wrong. It's not. It's because clarity often arrives after that initial first panic has settled. And then we have the breath opener. That's what I need now. I need to have a whiff of this. And the breath opener is wonderfully spacious to conifer aromas. And blue spruce can make us instinctively want to take a fuller breath, almost as though, you've stepped out of a crowded room into a cool mountain air. And energetically, it asks you to look at where you're holding yourself tightly. Is it in your jaw? Is it your shoulders? Is it in your breath? Is your breath tight? Is it in expectations? And more often than not, we don't need to fix ourselves. We need space. That's what we need, space. And then there is the boundary tree. And so look at the physical architecture of a spruce. It's got a very strong trunk. It's got very clear structures. Its branches extend outward without apology. They just go out. Roots anchoring deep beneath. And this is the personality of blue spruce that feels deeply connected without having shape and definition. There's not walls, there's not structure, it's the ability to remain ourselves while still being connected to everyone around us. And then there's the winter light, and this is my favorite. The winter light is the evergreen quality of it. And that just reminds us that, we're still alive, even in a season when very little appears to be happening. And this is blue spruce for times of waiting, recovery, transition, uncertainty, and those sort of in-between seasons where the old thing has ended, but the new thing hasn't quite appeared. And the trees, they don't panic because spring hasn't arrived in January or whenever it arrives for you. Neither must we. It's just, it'll arrive when it needs to arrive. Blue spruce is unmistakably coniferous, but I don't want to stop there. Thank you, Sherry. Because if we simply say it smells like a Christmas tree, we miss most of its personality. The opening is usually when you first smell the essential oil, it's fresh. Then you start getting the green and then the resinous. And there's that immaculate needle-like clarity that gives the impression of a cool forest air. And then something even more subtle appears, a slightly sweet quality, a woody undertone, and sometimes an almost citrus-like brightness to it too. There may be a soft balsamic warmth as well beneath those sharper green top notes. And then as you keep sniffing it, the aroma can become smoother, more rounded, moving from that freshly crushed needle towards the forest wood and resin. And it is fabulous. Amazing how it changes the more you smell it. But what I particularly notice is actually the sensation of air within the aroma. Because some oils feel thick, and then you've got those that feel floral and some that feel instantly warm. But blue spruce feels spacious. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Bless you. Just imagine a mountain morning where the air is cold enough to feel incredibly clean, but not quite cold enough that it hurts. And then you breathe in, and there is the resin from the trees, that damp earth, that wood, those needles, and then perhaps snow somewhere high on the mountains, and there seemed to be more room inside your chest than there was before. That is blue spruce. No worries, Michelle, no worries. It just smells like space returning. It really does. Now, blue spruce is a tree of the Rocky Mountains surrounding Western North American landscapes as well. And I think when you understand that the habitat tells us a lot about its aromatic personality, these environments shaped by elevation and cold and snow and rock, streams and strong seasonal change, open sky, the tree has evolved to survive in places where winter is not a minor inconvenience. Its narrow sort of needle-like leaves, that they help to conserve moisture, and its conical structure helps to shed the snow, and its evergreen habit allows it to take advantage of the favorable conditions without rebuilding an entire canopy every spring. Yeah, juniper trees. That, I think we talked about juniper trees. I think we've done juniper. They're amazing too. They aren't she? Hi, Caleb. So, and sharpen, if you rub them to your fingers, it smells heavenly. Oh, okay. Love that, Caleb. I love that. Very cool. It's the physical. That's all right. I do that all the time, Caleb. The physical tree embodies adaptation. It's not through frantic change, through intelligent structure. And that gives us another way of thinking about resilience. Resilience isn't always try harder. Sometimes it's all about just arranging your life in a way that makes it easier to remain well. And that's what it is. That can also might mean to you better boundaries. It might mean more rest or different priorities or asking for help or doing fewer things. And creating routines that support you as well. The spruce survives winter partly because its structure is suited to the life it lives. And I think that's a beautiful question for us. Does the way I have structured my life actually support the person I'm trying to become? That's a very deep question, isn't it? Blue Spruce Essential Oil is generally obtained by steam distillation, most commonly from the needles, and sometimes small branch material as well. And I love explaining steam distillation because it really helps you understand just how remarkable an essential oil really is. Plant material is placed into a still. Steam passes through the aromatic needles and twigs, and then the heat releases those volatile aromatic molecules from the tiny, tiny structures within the plant, and then those molecules travel upward with the steam, and then the vapor is then cooled. And as it condenses back into a liquid, we obtain that aromatic water. The hydrosol, that's where the hydrosol comes from. And the much more concentrated essential oil that separates from it as well. So wonderful. Yes, you do have in your region there would be lots. Yes. So inside that tiny, tiny little bottle that you get, the bottle is the concentrated, volatile, aromatic fraction from a huge amount of plant material. And that's why one drop can fragrance a large, large space. And that is also why essential oils deserve respect. And buying them from ethically source them, because there are lots of frauds out there. So they may come from nature. They do come from nature, but they are highly concentrated preparations of nature. So when we inhale blue spruce, we're not smelling an entire tree in the literal sense. We're experiencing a concentrated aromatic expression of some of the molecules that give the tree its distinctive fragrance. And then somehow, from that tiny, tiny bottle, an entire mountain landscape appears in our imagination. And that never stops being magical to me. I just love it. I love it. I really do. Blue spruce carries an energetic symbolism of steadiness, spaciousness, clarity, endurance, inner authority. But the word that I feel encompasses blue spruce is presence. Blue spruce doesn't feel like an oil that wants us racing forward to enlightenment. It's like the crystal. It brings us back into what is happening here. What can you actually feel? What can you actually control? What deserves your attention now? What can wait? Where does your breath go when you stop trying to anticipate tomorrow? And that's why I find the oil particularly beautiful during emotionally crowded times. And sometimes our mind continues yesterday to today and then to next Tuesday simultaneously, or Thursday, because this is Thursday. But Blue Spruce feels like an open window through all of that, not erasing anything, just simply creating enough space that we can see one thing at a time. It also carries a lot of energy of endurance too, and not the endurance that grits its teeth and keeps going regardless. It's that endurance of the evergreen. Rest when necessary, conserve, remain connected to your center, trust that seasons move, and then perhaps that is the spiritual side of Blue Spruce that I love the most. It doesn't promise perpetual summer. It's you can remain yourself through winter. It's just sometimes a bit slower and tougher. And again, I chose the throat chakra for Blue Spruce as well. And I didn't choose that simply because it's cool blue-green personality, because it's got the blue in it as well as the crystal. Just fits the color association of these two. But I think it's that deeper connection. It's that breath, that spaciousness, and that clear expression. The throat is an extraordinary threshold within our body. Breath passes through it. Voice passes through it. Food passes through it. Emotion can seem to lodge there. How many times have you said, I've got a lump in my throat? Or that I just can't get the words out? And the throat chakra symbolically sort of asks, can what is inside me move outward clearly? And that's where Blue Spruce becomes a beautiful companion. Its forest aroma creates a subjective feeling of openness and spaciousness. Energetically, I imagine that same spaciousness around our words. Not speaking more, but speaking with room around our words. Room to breathe before responding, room to choose, room to listen, room to decide that something doesn't need saying at all. Sometimes words pop into your head, and if you've got someone that has verbal diarrhea, they'll just, whatever comes up here comes out here. and Blue Spruce will help you just learn to stop and choose what you need to say, and does that actually need to be said? And that's beautiful alongside the lapis as well. Lapis asks what is true, and Blue Spruce then can create enough inner space to express that truth clearly. It really can. And one is the inner wisdom, the lapis, and then the other is the breath that carries it outward. And when the throat chakra feels symbolically crowded, Blue Spruce gives us a beautiful practice. Take an aromatic breath and relax the jaw. Take a beautiful breath. If you've got the oil, have a wee smell. And relax your jaw, lower your shoulders. And do this when you're needing to respond to something. And ask yourself, what should I say? And then when you breathe first, you can be amazed about how different that mind answer can become when it's truly spoken. Blue spruce is an oil. I would bring it into your ordinary life, rather than saving it for ceremony. Diffuse it in the house when the house feels stuffy. Not just physically stuffy, but emotionally as well. Those days when a room somehow is just holding that mood of everything that's happened in it. Open a window, diffuse a little blue spruce, and then just let that fresh air move. I love it before writing, before difficult conversations, because it doesn't make me overstimulated. Instead, it just helps establish a sense of spacious alertness. It's beautiful as a morning ritual as well. Let it become a morning ritual when you're doing your yoga or when you're sitting journaling in the morning. Properly diluted blue spruce can also be incorporated into body oils or personal aromatic blends, like using something like that. That hasn't got blue spruce in it, but it smells beautiful anyway. It just clears my senses. When you're having a cup of tea, have it in a diffuser beside you. Just for a few minutes before you start looking at your computer or looking at messages on your phone, or before you start interacting with the world, and just helps establish a sense of spacious alertness, and so it's beautiful. Properly diluted. I particularly like it when it's properly diluted as a blend to use on your wrists, and then you can continue to smell it as you wave your hands around during the day. It's fabulous for that. And definitely when you feel like you need to stop and breathe, then you have that aroma on you, and you can breathe that in and stop and just center yourself. It's like a sensory doorway back into presence. And eventually the fragrance itself just reminds us to unclench, to breathe, to come back, and then just tackle one thing at a time. Its archetype I have chosen is the mountain guide. In blue spruce, I think that can only be that. The mountain guide doesn't carry you up the mountain, and that is important. They walk beside you. They know the terrain. They understand the weather. They recognize when the clouds are changing, and they know when to keep moving. But perhaps more importantly, they know when not to keep moving. The inexperienced traveler may believe courage means continuing on regardless. But the mountain guide understands that sometimes wisdom means like, okay, we're going to stop here tonight. We're going to wait. We might even have to take another route. Or maybe we turn back. But we will breathe. We will stop and breathe and then see what happens. And this is what this archetype so beautifully connected with the blue spruce. The spruce tree, it survives because it responds intelligently to the environment. And the mountain guide represents that same wisdom within us. How much can we endure? And that's often what we ask, how much more of this can I take? But if you have the courage, stop and breathe and ask yourself, what is the wisest way through this? Someone trying to ring me. Go away. The mountain guide also sees farther because they have learned to observe. They look at the sky, the ground, the wind, the person beside them, and they don't need certainty. They need enough information to just choose the next step. And that feels wonderfully relevant to everyday life. And, you know, a lot of us want the entire map. You know, what's going to happen next month, next year? Is this the right choice? Where will it lead? But Blue Spruce and the Mountain Guide just answer that, you know, you don't need to see the whole mountain from here. Oh, beautiful Blossom. That was a long one for you. Lovely to have you. Blossom started at 12 and you've just finished. Oh my goodness. I think mine, I've had one that's been 3 hours too, and it's like, so yes, if you don't know Blossom, follow Blossom, because she is a beautiful, beautiful teacher. Plays a most amazing music on her piano. It is just stunning. So what is the next step? Take that one, then look again. And there is a shadow side to the mountain guide as well. You know, guidance can become control. Experience can turn into believing we know what everybody else should do. And the mature mountain guide, he never drags someone along the preferred path. They say, well, look, here is what I can see. Here is what I've learned. And now we must listen to our own feet. And perhaps exactly what good guidance should do. It doesn't create dependence. It helps us become better navigators of our lives. My pleasure, Blossom, and thank you. Now with Blue Spruce, it may smell absolutely wonderful and wonderfully gentle and natural as well, but it is still a concentrated aromatic extract and deserves very thoughtful use. So for topical use, dilute it into an appropriate carrier oil, whichever is your favorite. There are so many out there. I create my own, actually. I should show you how to do that. I love creating my own because I can add all sorts of little deliciousness into them. Don't apply it neat. Especially if you have very sensitive skin, you know, just start conservatively. Even if it's in a carrier oil, just start conservatively and do a little patch test. But a properly diluted preparation before you start using it all over your body and that. Yeah. You'd love that. What did I say that you would love? It comes out and it goes away. What I said about yes. So at the moment I'm creating beautiful blends with the base being sunflower oil, and that is just fabulous. So I have, my latest one has got lemon balm. So what you do is you infuse. Anyway, we'll go back. I'll tell you one at the end if we've got time. Remind me, Jen. Remind me. But there's a process to it too. So I could maybe I should try and do a video about it. Avoid your eyes with most essential oils. Avoid your eyes, even if it's in a carrier oil, like all my ones that I use on my face. Always very careful around the eyes. The best way, if you get it in the eyes, is to put a nice warm eye mask on, and it will just help dilute it. Fabulous, Jen, fabulous. Be careful with children. Uh, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, it interacts with various medical conditions, so you need to look up that. Or if you have a history of strong fragrance sensitivity, it is a strong smelling oil, so you need to be careful about that. Always check its botanical name. So you want the Picea pungens for the blue spruce. Freshness matters. If you've had that oil sitting around for a while and you open the bottle, and you'll notice the difference, and it's like, okay, even if it's nearly a full bottle, if it's lost its beautiful freshness, let it go. Store them with a tightly closed lid and in the cool and dark. Like many of the coniferous essential oils, its volatile components do oxidize over time, and an old oxidized oil can be very irritating on the skin than a fresh one. But again, you'll notice that the smell will change when it oxidizes. And I went through all my oils the other day to see the ones that expired. And even if it looks good and smells good, if it's expired, then some of its goodness has gone as well. But then opening some of the other bottles that hadn't expired, and I went, ooh, that one needs to go. So use them lots, use them. Don't ingest it. Definitely not with blue spruce. There are some that you can, and you can get culinary essential oils, but blue spruce is not one of them. I have created a tea blend, but that is just encapsulating its forest sort of character with the herbs that I've created for that. Blue spruce encourages endurance. But endurance doesn't mean staying in situations that are continually harming us. And evergreen survives winter because it has adapted intelligently. It does not prove its strength by pretending winter isn't cold. Winter is cold, although it hasn't been this year here, but normally it is. And perhaps that's the final little teaching of blue spruce, is that you don't have to become tougher simply because life has become demanding. Sometimes strength looks like slowing down, just taking a breath. Sometimes strength is actually asking for help. Sometimes strength is changing direction. That takes courage and strength sometimes. And sometimes strength is simply saying, not today, not today. And sometimes strength is just simply standing where you are, breathing deeply enough to remember that you are still here. And perhaps blue spruce isn't asking us to climb higher. Perhaps it is inviting us to just stand beneath its branches for a moment. Feel the mountain air, let the noise settle, and let the breath return. And then you can ask, what is the next true step? Not the whole journey, not the entire mountain, just the next little step. And when you know it, walk it slowly, clearly, and with your own voice intact. Because the mountain guide within you has never needed to know every turn in advance. It only needs enough stillness to recognize the path when it appears. Now, the two of them together. There are some crystal and essential oil pairings that feel as though they naturally understand one another. And Lapis Lazuli with blue spruce is one of those pairings. Lapis asks us to listen inward. Blue spruce asks us to breathe before we speak. And together, they create something that I think we need more of in everyday life, is clear, grounded, thoughtful expression. What's going on there? We often talk about speaking our truth, and sometimes we rush straight into the speaking part. But Lapis reminds us that truth needs to be heard within ourselves first. I don't know what's going on with you. I'll try something else. Let's try that one. No, not that one. Maybe that one. Yeah, let's try that one. Lapis reminds us that we need to be heard within ourselves first. Before we can express something authentically, we need to know what we actually feel, what we actually believe, and what is ours beneath that voice of expectation. The advice and other people's opinions. We need to look beneath that. Come back to yourself. And then you have blue spruce, and that arrives like cool mountain air. It creates space around truth. It asks us not to blurt, defend, or overextend or push. Simply breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let the nervous energy settle with enough that the words can arrive from a deeper place. And that is what makes these two beautiful together. Lapis is the inner voice. Blue spruce is the breath that carries us inwards. One helps us to recognize what needs expressing. The other helps us find enough steadiness to express it clearly. And I especially love this pairing for teachers and writers and healers and artists. They both go perfectly together. Speakers, creators, anyone who spends a great deal of time communicating with others. But it is equally beautiful for those quieter moments as well, when we just need to, maybe when we need to say something difficult, to ask for what we need. To establish a boundary, to apologize, or to actually explain how you feel, or finally put language around something that you have carried silently for so long. There's no aggression in this pairing. It doesn't want you to speak louder, the two of them. They just want to speak truer. But I think even better is listen better. Listen to yourself. Blue spruce, it reminds us that communication is not simply what comes out of the mouth. It's the atmosphere we create around our words. Are we leaving space for the other person? Are we listening for understanding rather than merely waiting for our turn? Are we breathing before reacting? Lapis brings wisdom to expression. Blue spruce brings spaciousness. And together they help us develop a voice that is neither hidden nor overpowering. A voice that is grounded, a voice that has breath, a voice that knows when to speak and when silence is wiser. So if you find yourself thinking, well, I don't know what to say, perhaps begin with Lapis and then ask what is actually true for me. And then inhale blue spruce and ask, how can I give this truth enough space to be spoken well? And that to me is the marriage of these two. It's not communication for the sake of being heard, but truth becoming expression through the doorway of a calm and conscious breath. It is a beautiful, beautiful pairing. Now I have a whole lot of blends for you, which I will put up on my link tree. I was sitting around this afternoon thinking, what shall I do? And excuse me, and I could have been doing that, couldn't I? I'll do it when I finish. So some beautiful blends with the energy of lapis and the beautiful essential oil blue spruce. So the first thing I've got is a body oil. The body oil has jojoba, sweet almond oil, and then blue spruce, frankincense, and lavender. It is just heaven. And for me, that's fine, because with the frankincense and lavender, lavender is quite a not a strong oil, but frankincense and lavender actually encompass other oils beautifully. So that one's not too bad. And then when you are once you've blended them, they need to sit for about at least a minimum 12 hours, preferably 24 before you use them. And in that time, that's where you sit your lapis there beside it to get that energy from this beautiful blue crystal into that oil. And with all of these oils and blends, do the same. Then I've got a slightly softer blend, which is what I called the Mountain Evening Oil. And that one is lovely just to rub on your, if you have a shower at night, just to rub on your shoulders, arms, and chest. And that is lovely to go to bed with that smelling around you. It's beautiful. Then I've got a serum. I love serums. Serums are beautiful. That's got jojoba and rosehip and squalene and blue spruce and frankincense in that, and that is delicious. Don't eat it, but it is delicious. And a few beautiful drops of that on slightly damp skin after a shower, avoiding the eye area. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All of these you must, if you've got sensitive skin, do check your skin. And then I've got a calming face oil as well. It's very nourishing and quite uncomplicated, this one. So it has got jojoba, apricot kernel, calendula infused oil, and that's where I would use my my sunflower infused oil, and then blue spruce, and then lavender. And then just cleanse your skin and put this on. Just beautiful, beautiful. And then I've got a toner as well. Toners are lovely. I'm still using our cucumber one that we created a month ago now, probably. And you don't need much. So just a little 30 ml bottle will last. Most of my oils are in 100 mils though. But I think I've done the blends for 30 mils. But the hydrosol toner is lavender, rose, and neroli, and that has the energy of the blue spruce in that blend. And that is a lovely to spray on your face. So once you've washed your face, spray that on, then just pat it nice and gently, breathe while you're doing it, and then follow with your with your serum and then your face oil. Beautiful ritual in the mornings. And then I've got a beautiful face mist, which is lovely during the day when you're just like, I need a lift. Beautiful face mist, and that's lavender, hydrosol, rose, and neroli. And again, this is all encompassing that mountain energy. And then a beautiful room spray. See, I have this one sitting here. This one is delightful. This is, I don't know, it's it's got a bit of citrusy, so you just spray them around. Delightful, and just refreshes the room beautifully. And that one, the one I've created, has lavender, hydrosol, distilled water, and neroli hydrosol. And then I shouldn't have sprayed it near my face. And then it's also got blue spruce, frankincense, and cedar atlas, just to add to that mountain feeling about it. Then a beautiful oil for your mala. If you follow me and do mala, and you have a mala and you do mala meditations, we do them on Friday nights for most of you and Saturday morning for me. And that has jojoba, blue spruce, and frankincense. And you just put a lovely tiny bit on your wrist or on your fingertips, and then with a beautiful mantra, or I've put the mantra that we're actually going to do this Saturday in this one because I thought it went really well with these blends. So I've put that there for you to use, or you can just use English words like breathe, listen, anything like that. And then the tea. The tea has got lemon balm, peppermint, chamomile, sage, blue cornflower petals, dried lavender, and ginger root. And then you can put a teaspoon of honey in that too, which is lovely. And again, that just carries that symbolism. And that one actually carries more of the symbolism of the blue in the for the lapis in that one. But it does have a bit of mountain energy in it as well. So that is it. That is it for the two of them. And now I think it is time to do our beautiful little meditation, encompassing the oil and the crystal. We've been going for 2 hours, so if you need to go, do go. But I always love to finish with a meditation. Wonderful. Beautiful hearts, beautiful hearts. Right, just settle in. Oh, that sun streaming in is just, it's getting hot. It's lovely, it's lovely. Just settle yourself in comfortably. Just allow your body to become a little bit heavier beneath you. And if you have Lapis Lazuli, just hold it in one hand, or your favorite crystal if you don't have lapis. And if you had blue spruce, have it diffusing nearby. But just, if you don't, just visually in your mind, just imagine that fresh needles, the resin, the wood, the cool green air. Take one beautiful breath in. Breathe out. And close your eyes. There's nowhere you need to travel to. Nothing you need to make happen. But somewhere between one breath and the next, you realize you are already there. You're sitting in a circular room high upon a mountain, and you don't remember entering. You don't remember climbing. Yet somehow this place feels strangely familiar. The walls are made from deep blue stone, not painted blue, stone, rich, midnight blue threaded with tiny points of gold, lapis lazuli. An entire chamber carved from the stone that you hold in your hands. And above you there's no roof, only sky. Twilight has just begun, and through the circular opening overhead you can see the first stars appearing. Around the chamber stand tall blue spruce trees. Their branches reach above the walls, blue-green needles moving in the mountain breeze. And every time the wind passes through them, their fragrance enters the chamber, and you breathe. And for the first time in what feels like a very long while, nobody is asking you a question. Nobody needs an answer. There's no messages waiting, no decisions to be made, no expectations. Only the blue chamber, the spruce trees, the evening sky, and you. And in the center of the room stands a circular stone table, and upon it rests an old book. You walk towards it. The cover is blue, almost exactly the color of Lapis Lazuli, but there's no title. You open it, and the first page is blank. So is the second, and the third. And you turn several more, and every page is empty. You almost laugh. You have traveled somehow to a mystical observatory on top of a mountain and discovered a blank book. But then you notice something written at the bottom of one page. Just 4 words. What have you not said? Your fingers become still. Perhaps something immediately comes to mind. Maybe nothing does. But you're not asked to search, and instead you walk away from the book and move towards an opening in the circular wall. And beyond it, the mountain drops into a vast valley filled with blue spruce. Thousands upon thousands of trees stretch into the distance. And above them, the sky deepens from blue into indigo. And you can hear wind traveling through the forest. Begins far away, a whisper. Then gradually it reaches the trees below you. Branch after branch moves until finally the wind reaches your observatory, passes across your face. You inhale blue spruce, cool, green, spacious. And suddenly you understand something. The forest doesn't answer the question. It gives you enough room to hear your own answer. So you return to the book. And now there are new words upon the page. What have you said that wasn't really yours? Maybe it's a belief you inherited, something you agreed with because everyone else did, a yes that wanted to be a no, an apology you never needed to make, a version of yourself you learned to describe because somebody else once described you that way. And again, you don't need to solve anything. The mountain isn't asking for confession, simply making room for honesty. And you notice a tiny piece of lapis lying beside the book. And you pick it up. It's deep blue, white calcite drifting through it like cloud. tiny golden pyrite stars, not one color, not one mineral, not one story. And something inside you softens. Maybe truth doesn't have to be perfectly simple either. You can love someone and disagree with them. You can be grateful and still want change. You can be brave but still frightened. You can forgive and still have boundaries. You can know something today and understand it differently tomorrow. Truth doesn't always arrive as a declaration. Sometimes it arrives as, this is what feels true for me now. And the spruce trees move again. And this time you notice how they respond to the wind. They don't argue with it. They just bend slightly and return. And you take another breath and the book changes again. One final question appears. What would you say if you didn't have to say it perfectly? Now this one feels different because perhaps perfection has been guarding the doorway to your voice, waiting for the right words, the right time, the right confidence, the certainty that nobody will misunderstand. But the mountain seems to know something that you have forgotten. A voice does not have to be perfect to be true. And you place your hand upon the page, and somewhere inside the chamber you hear a sound. A single clear note. Low at first, then stronger. And you realize the sound is coming from the walls themselves. The Lapis Lazuli is humming. The blue spruce trees move with it. The wind joins in. And without being asked, you breathe in. And as you breathe out, imagine a soft blue light moving from the center of your chest upward into your throat. Not opening it dramatically, not clearing anything away, just simply illuminating the space. The blue light settles there, quiet, steady. You don't need to speak aloud, but inside yourself complete one sentence. What I want my voice to know is... And let whatever comes finish it. No editing, no correcting, no explaining. What I want my voice to know is... The book closes by itself, and now you understand why its pages were blank. It was never a book containing somebody else's wisdom. It was waiting for yours. Night has fully arrived above the observatory, and thousands of stars fill the open sky. Their golden light reflects in the lapis walls until you can no longer tell where stone ends and sky begins. And you stand there for another moment, blue spruce behind you, lapis beneath your fingertips, mountain beneath your feet, stars above your head, and your own voice somewhere within all of it. And you don't receive a prophecy. There's no final message carved into the wall. It doesn't need to be. Because perhaps the most important voice you came here to hear was never the mountains. It was yours. Now gradually become aware of the room around you. Feel the surface that's supporting your body. Notice your hands and your feet. Notice your breathing. If you're holding the crystal, notice its weight again. If blue spruce remains in the air, take one final breath of the forest. And bring back only this. I don't need to speak louder to speak truly. I don't need perfect words to have a voice. I can listen before I answer. I can breathe before I speak. And I can trust myself enough to know when the silence is finished. And when you're ready, open your eyes. The mountain doesn't disappear. The book doesn't disappear. The blue observatory simply becomes quiet again, waiting for the next time you need enough space to hear yourself again. And as we come to the end of our time together, just take one moment before you rush back into the rest of your day. Notice how you feel now compared with when you first arrived. Maybe something's shifted. Maybe something has softened. Maybe a thought has appeared that you want to take away and sit with. Or perhaps nothing dramatic has happened at all, and you've simply given yourself this little pocket of time to stop, breathe, and be here. And that's enough. And today we've journeyed with Lapis Lazuli and Blue Spruce Essential Oil, two beautiful allies, reminding us that our voice doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Lapis has invited us to listen deeply enough to recognize what is true for us. And Blue Spruce has reminded us to create space around that truth, to breathe before we speak, to find our steadiness and to trust that we don't need to see the entire path before taking our next step. And as we prepare to leave our little space today, perhaps carry one question with you. What is true for me now? How can I honor it? And you don't need to answer it immediately. Let it travel with you. Let it sit beside you while you make your cup of tea or go for a walk outside or preparing dinner at work or creating or just moving through the ordinary moments of your day. Because this is where our work with crystals and essential oils really begins. Not here in this live, out there in our lives. When the stone becomes something we reach for during a difficult moment, when a familiar fragrance reminds us to breathe, when a ritual becomes a tiny pause, when something we've explored together suddenly makes sense 3 days later while we're doing something completely ordinary. That is when these beautiful allies stop being things we simply learn about and become part of the way we live. So thank you for bringing your presence, your curiosity, and your energy into this beautiful space with me today. And until we gather again, may you listen deeply, breathe freely, and trust the wisdom of your inner voice. Oh, beautiful Maribel. I love that. I love that. Ah, yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dreams of walking. Oh, walking. I want that dream tonight too, Sherry. I really do. Thank you, Blossom. Thank you. It's so lovely having you here. So wonderful. Excellent. All right, my lovelies. I will see you again in a couple of days. Need to get rid of some of these cards. There we go. And our beautiful mala. So create that blend for the mala, bring it along with you, and the mantra that I've put in the blends list of the blends thing. Practice that if you want to, and I will put that up there as soon as I go finish from here, and we will have a wonderful time again. We'll do the 3 rounds again, and I really look forward to that. Really look forward to that. My pleasure, Jen. My pleasure. And what I do, Jen, with it's what I create is actually an infused. I didn't explain it very well, did I? An infused oil. So I already use sunflower carrier, and then what I do is I put a cup of that into a double boiler, and then I'll add my dried herbs and things to it. And so I have put lavender in them. The last one had lemon balm and something in it. And then you have that beautiful, beautiful aroma infused into the herbs infused into the oil. And you put it on a very, very low heat in the double boiler, and then you just leave it for a couple of hours. And just let all that stir in all the dried herbs into the sunflower oil, or whichever oil you choose. Calendula oil is perfect for that too. And then just stir it all in, then just leave it for a couple of hours. Make sure you're around. You don't want your pot to dry out, but you don't want any water. You don't want it filled so much that any water and condensation will get into the oil as well. So it's a fine balance. And I've got the sun coming in, and that creates just a beautiful, different carrier oil. It's lovely. It's lovely. I love doing them, and I use them lots. And ideally, you want them to sit for quite a few, 14 odd days before you use them. So I always make sure I get one. I have, when I've created one, then a week later I'll create another one, so that there's always one there for me to use. So that's the easiest way to do it. Oh, the sun. It is beautiful. It's so warm. It really is. It's lovely. All right. I should play our beautiful song that I had for our live again, because a lot of you didn't hear it. It is a story I wrote. Yes, spring is coming, yay. And this is a story about crystals and essential oils that I put to music. And it always reminds me of Scottish Sean. And I don't think he's here. I don't think he's here. Oh, he is. There he is.
Come step softly through the doorway. Leave the restless world behind. Where the stones hold ancient stories. And the oils awaken the mind.
I just thought it would be nice to create this. Can you hear it?
There is memory in the tree, and tonight their gifts are waiting to unfold for you and me. Where stone and scent become one, earth below and golden sun.
No, there weren't many people here when I played at Maribel. Thanks, Blossom. So they're my words, but not my voice, obviously.
Open your heart, the light has begun. Where stone and scent become one. Every color holds a whisper. Every fragrance has a song.
It's very hot, Maribel. Pull the sleeves up. Thanks, Sherry.
From the roots beneath the forest to the mountains reaching high, Earth has gathered all her magic, and she shares it here tonight. Where stone and scent become one, earth below and golden sun, crystal light and fragrant air, leaving healing everywhere.
They do.
Open your heart, the light has begun. Where stone and sense become one. Breathe it in and hold the stone. You are held and not alone. Let their ancient energies bring you home on scented breeze. Where stone and scent become one, earth below and golden sun, crystal light and fragrant air, sacred
Thanks, Blossom.
wisdom gathered here. Open your heart, our journey's begun. Where stone and scent becomes one. Where stone and scent become one.
And that's what they do. Stone and scent becomes one. They're beautiful. That's why I love marrying them up together. Really do. All right, my lovelies. I will... Thank you, Maribel. Yeah, I do love writing, and I've got really, I don't know, I do write most days, and yeah. My pleasure, Sherry. Thank you for listening. All right, my darlings. So wonderful to see you all here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful journey with Lapis Lazuli and Blue Spruce. And I hope to see you again really soon. Love to you all. Many blessings. Bye.